The impact the one and done rule in men's Division I basketball has on both the collegiate and professional level in the U.S. In the early NBA days, the league established a rule that a player could not enter the NBA draft until 4 years after his high school graduation. Detroit native Spencer Haywood challenged that rule when he entered the league after only being out 3. The league wanted to disallow his $1.5 million contract and punish the Seattle Supersonics for violating this rule. However, in 1971, the U.S. Supreme Court, in a 7-2 majority, ruled in Haywood's favor. It was that decision that made it possible for high schoolers and collegiate athletes to enter the draft without completing 4 years of college. As time passed, controversy arose over the influx of high school players entering the NBA. So David Stern, then commissioner, along with the Players Union, created a rule that a player whom is not an international player must be at least 19 years of age and 1 year removed from high school before being eligible for the NBA draft. Since 2006, 80 players from the U.S. have spent just 1 year in college before declaring for the draft. The first graph from Google Trends shows an increase in interest in one and done players, while the second table indicates that the University of Kentucky leads all Division I schools with the most one and done players since '06. It is fair to note that Kentucky went through a coaching change in the 2009-2010 season, which also seems to be when the start of the one and done trend increases. Coincidence? It is because of this trend that critics are starting to question whether the one and done rule is doing more harm to the college game than good. My study will attempt to answer such questions as to why the college players are leaving so quickly, how coaches are adjusting to the turnaround of players on a yearly basis, and do the fans and/or front office personnel want to see this rule changed. This is the best time to tackle this topic, as right now we are right in the thick of college basketball season and the NCAA tournament will begin March 17th. NBA draft scout Jonathan Giovanni told the New York Times in 2013 that it's during this time that college players have a chance to increase their draft value by playing at the highest level against other teams with NBA level competition. For example, former Syracuse guard Michael Carter-Williams went from being a 16 projected pick to being a 13 projected pick just based off his performance in the national tournament, leading Syracuse to the Final Four in 2013. He actually was drafted number 11 by the Philadelphia 76ers and was the 2014 NBA Rookie of the Year. The general public would be interested in knowing if the impact of one and done is causing a popularity shift in the sport. Graph A shows the TV ratings of the NCAA tournament over 20 years from 93 to 2013, and one can see the ratings have decreased significantly. Graph B shows more specifically the TV ratings and viewership of a Final Four over the last 10 years. Although viewership seems steady, the 2014 ratings were still on the low end. In order to present a fair and accurate study, I will seek views from all sides of the spectrum, those who oppose one and done and those who support it, and I will use resources like the polls shown here that can be found on my PLN, as well as interviews to gain various perspectives on the subject. My first scheduled interview comes from ESPN NBA insider Amin Ellison. He has experience as a college scout for the Phoenix Suns and former front office experience with the Suns and the New York Knicks. My second interview comes from Chastity Melvin, former collegiate and retired professional basketball player who spent 12 years in the WNBA and overseas as an international player. She is now a high school basketball coach in California. This topic is starting to come around more now than in the past. In 2014, current Commissioner Adam Silver told ESPN that changing the age limit for eligibility was a top priority. Most other articles that are touching this idea is either touching A, making freshmen ineligible, B, other models for the NBA draft, or opinion pieces with no defined research or statistical data. Through a demographic search, I learned that most college basketball fans are white middle-class males over the age of 35 and live in the United States. Therefore, in keeping with the trend, this is the audience I am targeting. By the end of my study, I want my research to provide my readers with a better understanding of how college freshmen leaving for the NBA draft truly impacts the sport of college basketball, and if the effects are as dire as the critics of the one and done rule lead us to believe they are.